Imagine living your entire life inside a bubble. No fresh air, no human touch, and one tiny germ could kill you. This is Jimmy's life. Jimmy was born without an immune system, which means even the smallest bacteria could be deadly. So to keep him alive, his parents lock him inside a completely sealed plastic bubble. Now at just 4 years old, Jimmy is brought home to California by his parents, Livingston and Morton. They love him more than anything, but their love comes with extreme protection. One day, some kids are playing outside and accidentally throw a ball toward Jimmy. But before it even gets close, his mom grabs it and pops it instantly. Yeah, she's not taking any chances. The kids feel bad, but Jimmy is quickly rushed back inside because for him, the outside world is basically a death zone. When Jimmy sees his home, he's actually amazed. It's big, beautiful, but completely covered in plastic. His entire room is sealed off to protect him. He has toys, a bed, everything he needs, and honestly, he's happy. His mom even tells him that he's special, different from everyone else, and that this bubble is what keeps him safe. Fast forward, Jimmy is now 12 years old. His mom still does everything for him. He spends his days watching TV, learning from her, and honestly, he believes she's the best teacher in the world. But reality hits hard. One day, Jimmy looks outside and sees other kids calling him Bubble Boy and making fun of him. His mom instantly scares them off, but the damage is already done. That night, now at 16, Jimmy starts questioning his life. Like, why doesn't he have a normal life? Why doesn't he even have a car? The next morning, he's playing guitar and singing, trying to stay happy until something changes everything. New neighbors move in, and that's when Jimmy sees her, Chloe. The moment he lays eyes on her, he falls in love. 2 years later, Jimmy is 18, and he secretly watches Chloe from his window while she's washing her car. She notices him, but Jimmy quickly pretends he was just cleaning the window. Smooth, not really. The next day, Chloe comes over with her friends, and they start making fun of Jimmy, calling him a bubble boy, even joking that he might be an alien. But Chloe isn't having it. She shuts them down immediately, telling them they shouldn't make fun of someone's illness. She explains that Jimmy has no immune system, and even a tiny germ could kill him. And honestly, that moment says a lot about her. So Chloe decides to meet Jimmy. As she enters the house, she's shocked. Plastic tubes everywhere. This isn't a normal life, but when she finally meets Jimmy, something clicks. They start talking, laughing, joking, and just like that, they become friends. After she leaves, Jimmy's mom goes full panic mode, cleaning everything. But Jimmy, he can't stop thinking about Chloe, because now he's in love. The next day, Jimmy teaches Chloe how to play guitar. They laugh, have fun, and for the first time in his life, Jimmy feels normal. But that feeling doesn't last long. That night, Chloe comes over to wish him happy birthday, but she's drunk. She tells Jimmy she wants to kiss him and tries to enter his bubble. Jimmy panics and tries to stop her, but she passes out right there. And then, a few days later, everything changes. Chloe introduces Jimmy to her fiancé, a famous singer named Mark. She tells Jimmy they're going out for dinner that night, and just like that, Jimmy's heart shatters. Because the truth is, he's completely in love with her. The next day, Jimmy's mom drops a harsh truth on him. She tells him straight up, Chloe doesn't love you. She just feels sorry for you because of your condition. Yeah, that hits hard. Then we cut to the next day. Jimmy is doing his usual routine when Chloe shows up again. Jimmy asks her if she's going somewhere, and Chloe says yes. She tells him her wedding is officially planned, and it's happening this Saturday at Niagara Falls. That moment, it completely breaks Jimmy. Before leaving, Chloe gives him a gift, something she made for him. But Jimmy is upset, so she just places it inside the tube, says goodbye, and walks away. Now both of them are thinking about each other, but neither says what they truly feel. After she leaves, Jimmy opens the gift. Inside, there's a love-themed showpiece, a boy and a girl together. And suddenly, it clicks. Jimmy realizes Chloe has feelings for him too. And just like that, his hope comes back. That night, Jimmy makes a crazy decision. He builds his own bubble suit, and he says he only has 3 days to get to Niagara Falls and stop the wedding. So for the first time in his life, Jimmy steps outside. He can walk, he can run, and he feels truly alive. He reaches a bus station and goes to the ticket counter, asking how to get to Niagara Falls. The man tells him it'll cost $260. Jimmy doesn't have that kind of money. So the guy rudely tells him to just stand in the middle of the road and figure it out. Jimmy gets nervous, and suddenly, a bus hits him. Yeah, straight up. He goes flying, but thanks to the bubble suit, he survives. The bus stops, and a group of students get out. They're confused, asking who he is and what he's wearing. Jimmy explains everything. He needs to get to Niagara Falls to stop his girlfriend's wedding, and surprisingly, they agree to give him a ride. Inside the bus, Jimmy is having the time of his life, laughing, joking. For the first time ever, he feels like he actually has friends. Meanwhile, back home, his mom brings him breakfast, but when she sees his room empty, she panics. Back on the road, Jimmy tries talking to one of the girls on the bus, asking if she'd go out with him, but she gets offended. She tells the others that Jimmy is being weird and creepy, and just like that, everything turns. The guys on the bus throw Jimmy out in the middle of the desert and drive away. Now Jimmy is all alone. At the same time, his mom is desperately trying to find him. Jimmy keeps walking along the road until he meets a guy named Slim who's fixing his bike. Slim gets scared seeing Jimmy in that strange suit and even pulls out a knife, but Jimmy quickly explains he's human and he can help fix the bike. Meanwhile, those same students stop somewhere where their professor Gil shows them an ancient rock painting. He tells them it represents the final form of God, and when the students see it, they're shocked because the figure in the painting looks exactly like Jimmy, the same guy they just threw out of the bus. Back with Jimmy, he successfully fixes Slim's bike because yeah, he's actually really talented. Slim then asks where he's headed, and Jimmy tells him everything he needs to reach Niagara Falls to stop the love of his life from getting married. Slim smiles and says he understands. He tells Jimmy that when he was younger, he also fell in love with a girl. He even shows her picture and says her name was Wildfire. Seeing Jimmy's determination, Slim decides to help him. He lets Jimmy ride with him, and just like that, their journey continues. That night, they reach Las Vegas. For Jimmy, this place is like another world. Bright lights, loud music, casinos. He plays games, has fun, and enjoys every second of it because he has never experienced anything like this before. For the first time in his life, Jimmy is actually living. Now we see Jimmy's parents, desperately searching for him. Meanwhile, Jimmy is in Las Vegas with Slim, playing games. But he loses, and Slim tells him he's gonna steal some coins to win it back. Jimmy immediately stops him. He doesn't want to cheat, but Slim doesn't listen and walks off anyway. That's when Jimmy notices something, a scooter, displayed as a prize for a game. And yeah, Jimmy does something unexpected. He steals it and rides straight out of the casino. Meanwhile, Slim comes back and starts asking around for Jimmy. That's when those same students show up again. They act lost and ask Slim for directions, but Slim instantly recognizes them. These are the same people who left Jimmy in the desert. He gets furious and is about to attack them with a knife, but the students quickly lock themselves inside the bus. The driver reverses the bus and smashes Slim's bike. Now Slim is beyond angry. At the same time, Jimmy's parents finally spot him on the road. Jimmy sees them too and panics. His dad doesn't stop the car, but his mom suddenly swerves toward Jimmy and hits him. Jimmy goes flying straight into a train car and gets knocked unconscious. The next day, Jimmy wakes up inside that train, but he's not alone. He's surrounded by some very strange people, and honestly, it freaks him out. They tell him they work in a circus and start talking to him like it's totally normal. Suddenly, the train stops. The door opens, and Jimmy jumps out immediately. Outside, he meets a short man, the circus owner, Dr. Freak. Now Jimmy makes a huge mistake. He starts making fun of Dr. Freak's height. And yeah, that doesn't go well. Dr. Freak gets angry and starts attacking him, but thanks to the bubble suit, Jimmy doesn't get hurt. Then Dr. Freak jumps at him, and Jimmy throws him off, knocking him unconscious. Jimmy runs away, but the circus performers start chasing him. Then Jimmy turns around and says something unexpected. "You're free. You don't have to stay here anymore." And hearing that, they're actually happy. Cut to a hotel. Inside, an Indian man is eating while some people are making fun of his clothes and his turban, and that's when Jimmy walks in. He tells them to stop, saying this is part of Indian culture and they shouldn't mock it. But instead of understanding, they get mad at Jimmy. They ask him what he is even wearing. Jimmy explains it's a protective bubble suit, but now they think he's infected or dangerous. Panic spreads, everyone runs out, and they lock Jimmy inside the hotel. And then, things get worse. A lantern falls, and suddenly the place catches fire. Now Jimmy is trapped inside, running around trying to survive, because if his suit melts, he's dead. At the last second, the same Indian man, Pushpa, opens the back door and saves him. He takes Jimmy with him and helps him escape. Meanwhile, Jimmy's parents find that same train. They open the train car and find Dr. Freak inside. Jimmy's mom asks about her son, and Dr. Freak agrees to help them find Jimmy, but only if they take him along, because now he wants revenge. Back with Jimmy, he tells Pushpa everything that he needs to get to Niagara Falls to stop the love of his life from getting married, and Pushpa agrees to help him get there. At the same time, Chloe and Mark receive a call from Jimmy's mom. She tells Chloe that Jimmy has run away and blames her for it. Hearing this, Chloe feels guilty, and things are only getting more complicated. Meanwhile, Jimmy's mom steps outside, only to find their car destroyed. The circus performers have stolen it and disappeared. Now everything is out of control, and Jimmy is still racing against time to stop the wedding. Now we see Jimmy dreaming. In his dream, a dinosaur suddenly appears and straight up eats him. Jimmy screams loudly, and that scream scares Pushpa, who's driving. He loses control of the car and hits a cow. They both get out, and Pushpa is devastated. He starts crying. Jimmy tries to calm him down, saying, "It's just a cow." But Pushpa looks at him and says, "For you, it's just a cow. But in my religion, cows are sacred." And right there on the road, Pushpa starts praying. At that moment, Jimmy realizes something. Pushpa isn't going to continue the journey, so Jimmy quietly leaves and continues on his own. Meanwhile, Jimmy's mom is praying to God, asking for her son to be safe, while Dr. Freak is getting the car ready to continue the search. Back on the road, Pushpa is still sitting near the cow, when suddenly a truck comes speeding in and runs right over it. Pushpa is completely heartbroken. Elsewhere, Slim is still searching for Jimmy with his crew. They stop near Pushpa and ask what he's doing, but before anything happens, that same student bus shows up again. They recognize Slim, and once again things get chaotic. The bus driver smashes into their bikes again and escapes. Now Slim and his crew are furious. Cut to Chloe. She's trying on her wedding dress, but she can't stop thinking about Jimmy. At the same time, Jimmy reaches a city and spots a taxi. He asks the driver, his name is Pappy, to take him to Niagara Falls, but the price? $500. Jimmy doesn't have it, so he walks into a bar and starts asking people for money. Yeah, that doesn't go well. Instead, he ends up getting thrown into a fight with two girls, but thanks to the bubble suit, Jimmy actually wins. And just like that, he earns the $500. Meanwhile, Jimmy's parents are still on the move with Dr. Freak, searching for him. Slim and his crew are now using Pushpa's vehicle, since their bikes were destroyed. Back at the bar, Jimmy is about to leave when those same students show up again. This time, they apologize. They say they now understand who he really is, but suddenly, they grab him and take him away. At the same time, the circus performers see this happening, and they decide to help Jimmy, because he was the one who freed them. So they jump in, and a full-on fight breaks out between the students and the circus crew. Cut back to Chloe. She's watching TV, and every channel is showing bubble-related ads, and it reminds her of Jimmy. She realizes she misses him. Meanwhile, the circus people are trying to take Jimmy away safely, but suddenly, Slim and his crew arrive too. Now everyone is fighting each other all over Jimmy. And in the middle of all this chaos, Jimmy makes a smart move. He quietly gives Pappy the $500, jumps into the taxi, and escapes. Now everyone is left behind, and Jimmy is finally on his way. The next morning, Jimmy wakes up in the taxi and asks Pappy, "Don't you ever sleep?" But there's no response. Jimmy looks closer and realizes Pappy is sleeping with his eyes open. Yeah, creepy. Jimmy panics and hits the brakes. The taxi crashes through a sign and stops near a store. But luckily, Jimmy survives, thanks to the bubble suit. He runs into the store and calls Chloe, but instead of Chloe, Mark answers. Jimmy tells him who he is and says he loves Chloe and wants to talk to her, but Mark shuts him down. He calls Jimmy crazy and says there's no way he can keep Chloe happy because Jimmy can't even live outside his bubble. That hits Jimmy hard, and for a moment, he starts believing it. Maybe Mark is right. Feeling lost, Jimmy then calls Dr. Freak, but instead, his mom answers the phone. She tells him to stay where he is. They're coming to get him. And right after that, Jimmy's mom realizes the truth. Dr. Freak doesn't want to help Jimmy. He wants revenge. So without wasting a second, she throws Dr. Freak out of the car. Now Jimmy waits for his parents. After some time, they finally arrive. The moment they see him, they're overwhelmed with relief. They hug him, happy that he's safe. Then Jimmy's mom goes to a nearby shop while Jimmy sits in the car, quiet and clearly upset. His dad notices and asks what's wrong. Jimmy finally opens up. He says he saw a girl once and fell in love with her, and now he wants to spend his entire life with her, but he knows his mom would never allow it. Hearing this, his dad feels something. For the first time, he understands Jimmy, so quietly, he unlocks the car door. Jimmy looks at him, and his dad gives him a small nod. That's all Jimmy needed. He steps out and runs. Just then, his mom comes back and realizes Jimmy is gone. She panics and asks Morton, but he's just smiling. She spots Jimmy running and starts chasing him. At the same time, those same students show up again, now believing Jimmy is some kind of divine figure, and they start following him too. And suddenly, things get even crazier. Pappy shows up with a stolen airplane. Yeah, a plane. Jimmy jumps in. Right then, Slim and his crew arrive too, and chaos breaks out again as they start fighting with the circus people. Slim tries to ram through with his car, but suddenly, a plane is coming straight at him. At the last second, Pappy lifts the plane into the air, and they take off toward Niagara Falls. Behind them, Morton's car crashes into Slim's car, and in that moment, Slim recognizes Jimmy's mom, because Livingston is actually Wildfire, the girl he once loved. Meanwhile, Chloe arrives at the church, ready for her wedding. Back in the sky, Jimmy and Pappy are flying over Niagara Falls when suddenly, the engine dies. The plane starts going down, straight toward the waterfall. At the last second, Pappy restarts the engine and stabilizes the plane, but Jimmy falls out. He drops straight into Niagara Falls, and somehow, he survives because his bubble suit keeps him floating. Cut to the church. Chloe and Mark are about to get married. They're making promises to stay together forever, and then Jimmy walks in. Chloe sees him, and her face lights up, but Mark gets angry and tells Jimmy to leave. Jimmy shuts him down. He walks straight to Chloe, and then does something unbelievable. He removes his bubble suit. Everyone is shocked, because without it, Jimmy shouldn't survive. Chloe is terrified, but Jimmy looks at her and says, "If it's okay with you, can I kiss you?" Chloe nods, and they kiss. But right after, Jimmy collapses. He's not breathing. Everyone starts crying. Chloe breaks down. His mom arrives crying uncontrollably. All his friends are there, watching in shock. Everyone believes Jimmy is dead, but then his dad says something. Tell him he's not dead. His mom leans closer and says it. And suddenly, Jimmy opens his eyes. Everyone freezes. His mom finally reveals the truth. When Jimmy was a child, he had no immunity, but as he grew up, his body slowly started developing it. She hid this from him because she was afraid of losing him. She didn't want him to leave her, and now she apologizes. Jimmy forgives her and hugs her, and in that moment, everything changes. Jimmy walks up to Chloe and asks, "Will you marry me?" Chloe doesn't say a word. She just hugs him, and that's her answer. Soon after, Jimmy and Chloe get married. All the people Jimmy met along his journey are there, celebrating together. For the first time in his life, Jimmy isn't alone anymore. His parents ride off with Slim, and Jimmy and Chloe leave together, starting a new life.